All right, welcome everybody to episode 4 of the Willpower Podcast. Before I introduce my guest, I just want to remind you guys to please leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below. Now with that, I have the man, the myth, the legend, an inspiration for me of why I started my own training business. I have the coach, Mike Dunn. Now before I formally introduce you, I just want to go over a couple things. You've amounted 24,000 subscribers on YouTube, 122,000 on TikTok, 571,000 on Instagram, 3.5 thousand on Facebook. You are the owner and founder of Keep Shooting Academy, which is currently offering a limited time 50% discount, which can be found in the description down below. And welcome to Willpower Podcast. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, man. It's nice to be here.
Yep, absolutely. Now, I want to start from the beginning. I want to start with, where did you find your love for basketball? Talk to me about your upbringing and maybe some inspirations you had early on.
Yeah, I think I found basketball just because my neighbor had a basketball hoop, and he would go out there and shoot, and so I would just go out there and shoot as well, but I never took it serious until like around 5th grade or so. I played baseball all the way up to that, like very serious about baseball. Like I loved baseball, and I actually equate a lot of my ability to shoot. The moment I touched the ball, I could shoot, right? So the very first time I touched the ball, and they were like, "Hey, shoot it," no instruction or anything. It was no problem.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that was just due to the mechanics that happen when you throw. Mm-hmm. And I knew, as a pitcher, I knew how to use, my arm well and all this kind of stuff. And so I was kind of doing similar things when I shot the ball. And I think, and now working with some younger kids, and now starting to work with my daughter who's very young, you can't replace early success for anybody in something and how much that can kind of light the fire.
Yeah.
Like I imagine that maybe if I picked up a ball and I stunk right away, maybe I wouldn't have like got the basketball bug the way that I did. But I was pretty good at it. I could shoot. And I was like, okay, I'm going to keep doing this, right? And eventually it just took over. I didn't want to play baseball anymore. All I wanted to do was shoot. I love the fact that in basketball you can get better on your own. In baseball, I needed other people. I needed my dad to be there. I needed friends to be there. Basketball, it was so easy. Like it was I could just have a ball and a hoop. I'm going outside. I'm doing this. And so that's where it all started for me, was just
I love it.
Seeing the success early on, even though like my success was just seeing the ball go in the hoop, and I saw the ball go in the hoop early. And from that point on, I was like, well, how good can I get at this? And that's kind of how it catapulted into
Talk
everything.
about like where you first played. Did you start playing on a team in middle school? Was it in high school? Was it later on? Like when did you start playing within school and team programs?
Yeah, the first team I played like a CYO league. I don't know if if everybody's familiar with that. It's a Catholic youth organization league.
Okay.
And I started that in 5th grade, and I played zero. Like didn't see the floor, you know what I mean? And when I did see the floor, it was like at the end of cleanup minutes or something like that. And like was afraid to shoot, like all this kind of stuff, for my first year. But I loved it, and from that point forward, I was just like, I'm just gonna work. I'm gonna work. For
sure.
And went from I remember going from not playing at all in 5th grade to starting in 6th grade to playing up when I was in 7th grade to like it just continued to snowball just because of
and elevate. And
Yeah,
I want to
man.
talk maybe a bit about the early, you could call it non-success, but it's the difference between, you mentioned when you first started basketball, you could shoot. You play on a team, different environment. There's the pressure of the coach being there, maybe people watching, and you're scared to shoot. So what was it for you that clicked to be able to overcome that and then be able to start taking shots in game?
I really think it was just how much I was playing.
Okay.
I was playing so much outside of the structure of things. I was always on the court, whether by myself or going to the park and playing, that it was like, for me, it was like inevitable that eventually you're going to find this thing, right? Mm-hmm. Eventually you put yourself in enough situations where you do become the best player on the court, even if you're not around good players, right? Yeah. Now you are relied to shoot. And I think that there's a great advantage with that. So it was the combination of I'm constantly shooting, but I'm also constantly playing. And by playing, I think that allowed me to, with no pressure, there's no fans, there's no coach. It's just, it's just you, and whether it's friends or not, I think that helped out for me in a really big time way.
Yeah. And in your upbringing, when you first started to get into basketball, you mentioned going to your neighbor's house. Would you say your neighbor was the one rebounding for you the most when you're getting shots up, or was it your dad, or was it someone
It
else?
was it was definitely early on my dad for sure.
Okay.
My dad was I have the best dad in the world, man. Like I know
Awesome.
people say that, but like my dad is he is like not just for that reason, but like there's so many
Of
things
course.
that he has done for me growing up where he just did it. Like he's just an amazing guy, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, early on my dad for sure. But then a lot of it was just me. Like
Sure.
I think I remember being by myself more than anything, and I love
Yeah.
that. I love that to this day. Like I love just being with me. That's one of my
Yeah.
favorite. That's one of my favorite things.
I love it.
So it was for me. It's a match made in heaven when I don't really have to rely on other people to do what
Yes.
I want to
Yeah.
do.
I want to take a quick second to thank today's sponsor, Nobody. However, if you're a brand, business, or service and you want to promote what you have going on my platform, you can send me a message on Instagram at willpower.podcast or send me an email, which can be found in the description down below. And please enjoy the rest of the show. And that's the beauty of basketball, right? You can do it in a team setting, you can do it by yourself, you can enjoy it
Yeah.
either way. I want to speak more specifically on your dad and your upbringing. So talk to me about kind of the influence he had on you specifically to basketball and how you found success within the sport.
I think like both my mom and my dad, they were just
Hmm.
so supportive of everything.
Yeah.
Um, you want to do this? Okay, let's do it. Let's go all in on it. You really want to do it? Well, we're going to do everything we can to make sure. And it was never like trainers and stuff like that weren't even a thing. Like I didn't have
No.
trainers or anything like that back then. But it was whether it's, hey, do you want an opportunity to try out for this team? Okay, we can get you this opportunity to do it. But also like my dad, my dad owned his own business up until he sold it a couple years ago. My dad went to work Monday through Saturday
Hmm.
every single day, and I've never heard that man complain one time.
Yeah.
I've never heard my dad get up one day and say, I don't want to go to work. Never, man. Right? And I think as a kid, you take that for granted. Like you don't understand how rare that is. And
Yeah.
now, like I look back and I'm like, man, he's not human. Like,
Yeah.
that's insane to me. So he did things like that off the floor that have made such a profound impact on me in life. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But my mom and dad both are they're amazing in that regard. And they just, you want to do this, Mike? Okay, let's go do
Yeah.
it. Right. And
Always so supportive.
let's give it all we got while we do
That's
it.
awesome. And then after high school, you play in college. I'll be honest, a lot of people follow you. They know you as the trainer. That's
Hmm.
myself included. I'm not too aware of your player background. So I don't know
Yeah.
where you went to university, where you played exactly. So I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah. I played at a Division II school here. Well, I live outside of Philadelphia now, but it was in
Okay.
Philadelphia. It was called Philadelphia University.
Okay.
It's Jefferson University now. The coach that I played for there, Herb McGee, he's in the Basketball Hall of Fame. I believe he's the most winning college coach of all time.
Wow.
So he's in Philadelphia, surrounding areas. He's a legend, man. But he also was a professional shooting coach.
Okay.
So big time into shooting and all this kind of stuff. My playing career, I was there just to shoot. Like that's why I was there. I've told this story many times, but when he came to recruit me, the assistant coach had been recruiting me for a long time when I was in high school, and Coach McGee finally came to a game, and they boxed and won me the whole game, and I shot like 4 times, right?
Okay.
And in my mind, I was like, well, there goes my opportunity to go play at Philadelphia University. And he called me the next day and he offered me a full scholarship. And he said, I know you didn't get the opportunities to shoot the ball the way you wanted to shoot. And I think this is a great thing for kids to hear. But he said, I watched everything outside of the game. So I watched how you interacted with teammates. I watched how you interacted with coaches. He said, but more importantly, I watched how you warmed up, and I watched how you before the game, and I watched how you warmed up at halftime. He said, I didn't see you miss one time. He said, how you took it serious from the moment, like, all this kind of stuff. He said, I know you could shoot it. He's like, it's not your fault. You're not getting open looks. He's like, that's my job to get you open looks. And he said, I would love to have you play for me. So for kids, man, like the way you conduct yourself outside of those 4 lines or even within them, it's so important. It's a cliche thing to say you never know who's watching and stuff, but it's true. you're always auditioning for something. You don't know who is watching, who is paying attention, and what opportunity that's going to afford you later on. And so I started all 4 years at Philadelphia University. I got to play with some amazing players that helped me out in a big time way as a shooter. Um, yeah, man. Like I had. It's funny. I don't like talking about my playing career a whole lot because I
Okay.
feel like it has nothing to do with my ability to teach.
Yeah.
Um, I scored, I think, well, I don't know what the total was. I think I scored like 1,300 points in college. I think I'm second all time in 3-point field goals made at my college. But like again, like to me, it just doesn't matter. Like I've always never wanted to be the guy that like, yo, this is what I used to do.
For sure.
Um, it just doesn't matter to me anymore. It's a part of everything, but I'm a teacher now, so it's
Yeah,
way different.
much different world. And I think just to speak on specifically the winning culture you were around, I think that
Mm.
was huge. And I think for the kids to, like you mentioned, and just to add on to what you said, it's just control what you can control. And it's not necessarily you don't know who's watching, it's what they're watching as well. So like you mentioned, it was your energy, your effort, and how you conducted yourself was very vital to you getting that opportunity to even
Yeah.
get that experience. And you left that workout. You mentioned boxing one. You got 4 shots up. You didn't necessarily play up to your standards.
Right.
Then you had the opportunity where he tells you, "Hey, we want you." What was that feeling like to kind of feel like, okay, well, there goes that. It's done. To then
Yeah.
actually get the opportunity. What was that? What was that feeling like in that moment?
Elation.
Yeah.
I remember that being in school, feeling like I wasn't walking on ground. Like
Mm,
that's how it felt to me,
yeah.
like, oh, they really want me. Like he's gonna give me a full scholarship to go play basketball. This is amazing. I mean, it was one of those things that's like nothing can go wrong today now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like there's nothing that can go wrong.
That's awesome.
It was a great feeling for sure.
Yeah. Now, after your college career, did you make that transition directly to go into skills development and being a shooting coach, or what happened in that timeline before you became what you
No,
are now?
I, uh, I had gotten to a point with basketball where I didn't want to be around it
Oh,
um,
interesting.
at that point. Um, and it's probably a maturity thing, um, being immature at the time. It's interesting, like looking back. It's like you realize like you live a bunch of different lives in a way, you know. And so like it'd be hard for me to even recognize that person then versus where I'm at now, and I'm sure vice versa. But yeah, I put it down, put the ball down, and I was like, my thing was, I was like, I said, I'm just gonna find a normal job, and I'm just gonna work a normal whatever, and that affords me Saturday and Sunday to party and do whatever it is I want to do, right? And that's the kind of way that I approached it for a while until it didn't make sense
Yeah.
for me anymore. Like there was just a lack of fulfillment, not even like on the money side, but it was just on the. I didn't have what my dad had in terms of getting up every day and not
Yeah.
complaining about. And
Absolutely.
the only way you change that is by making that decision to change it yourself. So
Yep.
it took a bit, but found it again, and then
Before you talk about how you found it again, I want to know if you could look back and you making that decision to say, I want to step away from basketball, what advice would you give yourself back then? Being who you are now, if you could speak to yourself.
I would just say I wouldn't change anything.
Okay.
I would say do it. I think that, we do things for a reason and we go through
Yeah.
things for a particular reason and it's all part of the story. And I have 2 beautiful daughters and who's to say that if I went back in time and said, listen, man, you're going to regret this or whatever. Now,
Mm-hmm.
maybe I don't have those 2 beautiful daughters that I have, right? So
Mm-hmm.
good or bad, it's part of the story. And
Yeah.
so find out. You're gonna figure it out. Like I have a lot of people that ask me, I want to be a shooting coach. Like, how do I do it? And I say I can't. There's no blueprint to it, right? But you have to go down your own road, and you're gonna have to figure it out, and you're gonna have to use whatever past experiences you've kind of garnered to date,
Mm-hmm.
and use that to your advantage when you start to move forward in that. But yeah, I wouldn't change anything.
Good. I love it. And then what drew you back into the game? You mentioned the lack of fulfillment and kind of waking up and not necessarily feel like you're on the right path, and you got
Hmm.
drawn back to basketball. How did that happen?
It happened in a couple ways. One, I was involved in a really serious accident,
Okay.
and so it was like if one thing happened the wrong way, like we're not having this conversation right now, right? And it was one of those things where it was like, okay, like you only get one shot, man. Like this is it. You get one chance at this thing. And it was almost gone. And so that kind of catapulted me into thinking about my health much different, which then catapulted into me thinking, I guess, about my mind differently too. And so that's kind of what snowballed. First really getting in shape, and then I think downstream from getting in great physical condition is this mental component that a lot of people aren't aware of, how much that can impact you in a positive way. And so that really got the juices flowing in terms of, let's find something different to do and see if we can return to basketball.
Okay, I love it. Now, I've been following you for years and years, and I think some of my favorite stories is a 5:40 a.m. wake up when you do the workout in the morning. Talk to me a bit about your routine and also the importance of it, why you find that success, not only as a coach and for you in your life, as a father as well, but for the any human being in general. Why is a routine so vital to them being successful?
Yeah, I mean, I had a really strict morning routine for a long time while I was building the basketball business outside of working hours. My morning routine isn't the same now, especially not with my kids and everything like that. But for a good 10 plus year run, it was, wake up somewhere between 3:45 and 5 o'clock in the morning and handle all of your business right then and there. I think it was a great way to immediately get up and see improvement in some area of your life. Yeah. For me, that's what it was. Like, I'm going to get up, and the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to be feeling really good about things from a body perspective, right? And that snowballed into, okay, well, the business starts to grow, so I can get up and I can work on the business side. I can work up and I can do workouts before work. I can do this, I can do that. And so it was just a great way to start off with positive momentum in the direction I wanted to go, versus just starting off and going to work and doing something that I didn't necessarily love. But I did learn to appreciate it in a major way. Even going after something outside of the normal job made me value the normal job even more so from a present standpoint, through understand, when you're building something, I think if you're open to it, you can take things from anything. From relationships, you can take things from the job you're in. And so learning how to talk to people within my 9-to-5 job, when I'm in certain rooms with these, executives of different companies and all this kind of stuff, it's done wonders for me professionally now as I have my own business and do things. So it was more like I was using that as a training ground for what I was eventually, envisioning for myself to turn things into.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if anything, for everybody listening that's within the corporate space or working a job they don't necessarily love and they're having a hard time with it, it's understand that this is enabling you to do what you want to do outside of work. So you have your 9-to-5, but what are you doing that 5 to 9? Be productive, right. And like you're mentioning, just do what you can and control what you can control, of course.
Yep, absolutely.
Now, then we start the Keep Shooting Academy. Talk to me about the start of that, why you started it, and what gave you the confidence to be like, you know what, like as a coach, you found your confidence to say you want to put yourself out there and put your things on social media and have people pay you for it.
Yeah. It was, it's a matter of social media is very interesting because you can impact such a wide range of people, right? And I was doing so much stuff on the court, but when if you work an 8-hour day on the court, and I do mostly all one-on-one stuff, but if you work that means I maybe just impacted 8 people that day, right? Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with that. For me, selfishly as a teacher, I needed more reps. I listened to things like with comics growing up or going, on their way up the ranks, and comics will talk about how they will do a spot here and then walk over and do a spot here and then walk over and do a spot there. And they're getting up these constant reps in order to get familiar or comfortable on stage and work out material and do all this stuff. If I can only be on the court maybe 3 hours each day, right, for the most part, because 5 days a week I'm still working 9-to-5, that's so little time spent with reps in terms of becoming a better communicator and seeing things and everything. And so really the reason behind it initially was I wanted more reps with everything. Like I needed to see more. I needed to talk about it more. I needed to be as comfortable speaking about shooting as I was about anything else. And putting yourself out there for it is scary initially because you think nobody's going to pay for it. And then you get the first person that rolls in, and then the next, and the next, and the next, and you develop a cadence through. There's an amazing story about the Beatles in one of Malcolm Gladwell's books when they played in Hamburg. I believe it's Hamburg, Germany. Hopefully I didn't butcher that, but for almost a year straight or something, or 6 months straight, I forget the exact time, they played like an average of like 6 or 7 hours a day, right? Maybe it's for six straight months. And they talk about how there was a noticeable difference in the way that they had stage presence and the way that their music sounded and how confident they were when they came back after that run, right? That story stood out to me for the longest time. And so in my mind, I was like, I need to create something like that for myself. And that's what I kind of did. And now we stand like, I haven't missed a day inside of that academy teaching people how to shoot in over 2,000 days.
Wow.
And that's going on. I say, like, if I'm being conservative, I would say I'm in there 4 hours, 5 hours a day.
Okay.
I'm sure my wife would probably be like, no, he's in there much more than that. And like, there's no replacement on that. Like 2,000 straight days of doing something, even if like, we'll say it's 4 hours, that still only brings me to 8,000 really concentrated hours with somebody. It's amazing what it does for you as a teacher and as all that kind of stuff. So it's been great.
That's awesome. I want to talk a bit more about working with professionals and the difference between professionals and a younger athlete, maybe even a kid, right? In my experience, it's been harder when it comes to breaking down that wall of the ego sometimes, working with a professional athlete, because they get paid to do this. And you're working with guys that are making 6, 7, 8 figures to do what they do playing basketball, right? So how do you manage giving constructive criticism to a high-level athlete, but in a way that, it's easy to digest and not, hurting the ego, if you want to say that?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of my biggest goals is to show up in my role the way I'm best suited for, or the way that's truest to me, regardless of who it is.
Yeah. And
so I started out teaching kids. And so that's very much so how I communicate with kids. It's not, I'm not there to tear them down. I'm there to explain things, and hopefully a way that they understand. And it goes to the same way with a professional athlete. Being just very honest. I think the more authentic you are in how you deliver your message to who you are, it makes things really easy. It's really hard to oscillate between this role and that role. I gotta do this with this player, but this way. That it's much easier if it's just, hey, this is who I am, man. Yeah. And this is the way it's going to be. And I've gotten better and better with that. I stunk at it initially, man, because you have this certain idea of what a person is at the highest level, and this almost like respect that you think you need to give. And it's the truth of the matter is, you just need to give everybody the respect that they deserve. Yep. But you need to show up in a way that you're just being you. Yep. And when that happens, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter who's in the room. There's a story about a monk who went to go deliver a funeral service, and before the funeral service that he was about to deliver, he had sweaty palms, and he called off him doing the funeral, and he went to his students and he said, I'm not suited for this role because I had sweaty palms because the people that I'm doing this service for were considered in high regard, and I've realized that I'm treating them or treating this situation different than I would treat anybody else. And for that, I don't deserve to be in the role that I'm in. That's what I strive to be with everybody I teach. It's not a matter of, I think you are better because of where you stand with your role. We're here to learn, and that's it. And whoever's in front, let's do this thing, right? But let's both show up as the best version of us.
That's awesome. I love it. Following you for over the years, I've noticed you have a close relationship with, Craig, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, Rob Fodor?
Rob Fodor?
Yes. Which is the what's his Instagram? Sorry, the keep shooting? What's his
The shooting
Instagram?
guy.
The shooting guy, thank you. Talk about your relationship with him and also the importance of mentorship, because that's the sense I've gotten over the years of you working with him. He works for the Miami Heat.
Yep.
He is a shooting coach. So talk to me a little bit about your relationship with him and the importance of mentorship for you.
Yeah, he is. He's a genius.
Yeah.
Like you hear that word thrown out. I've been in enough rooms with people at very high levels in basketball, whether that be here in America or overseas now. I've never been around somebody that sees things the way that he sees them, communicates the things the way that he communicates, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He's been amazing for me in a multitude of ways. He's been amazing for me, though, in that I've been able to watch him and how he does things. And his message to me has always been, it's not regurgitating what he does. It's finding your own voice through what you're learning. And so he'll quote movies a lot, and he'll have a lot of movie references. And for anybody that hasn't seen the movie Finding Forrester, I would highly recommend seeing that movie. It's basketball is involved in the movie, but the main character, he's a brilliant kid, and he befriends this older author, and they really have an interesting dynamic. And the kid is struggling to write for this class that he has. And Sean Connery plays the older gentleman, and Sean Connery says, sometimes when you can't find your own words, it's okay to use somebody else's to get you started. And that's what he's always relayed to me in terms of, hey, use it, fine, start to use it, but he said, you got to find you after that, right? And so that comes back to the being authentic piece of it.
Yes.
But it's having anybody in your life to bounce things off of that are maybe where you'd want to be, or maybe where you thought you wanted to be, or just carry themselves in a way that is very admirable, I think is extremely important.
Yeah, I love it. Great answer. I want to talk about your greatest achievement in life, becoming a father. Now, a lot of the people listening are going to be the next generation of fathers, stepfathers. What would be one piece of advice that you've learned since becoming a father you'd like to hand off to them?
I think there's two big pieces, and I think about this stuff all the time, man, because it's impossible not to look at your kids and just think about things in just crazy ways. But presence is the biggest thing, and it's talked about a lot. It's so hard to do, but being present and being with your kids is like the greatest thing in the world. It's just like it. It's like I had this thought the other day. My daughter just turned 7 yesterday, and
Happy birthday!
Yeah, happy birthday, Isla. And I was looking at her, and I was thinking about presence. I was thinking about time, and I was like, like kids can make you feel like time doesn't exist, while simultaneously making you feel like you wish you had longer to live, right? Like it's like this juxtaposition. Like, yeah, there is no time. Oh yes, but there is, and I'm going to run out of it eventually. And these moments are so far and few between. That's huge. And then the second thing is, you should treat it, or I treat it like, I don't ever look at it like I'm a good dad. I look at it like I'm trying to be a good dad.
Yeah.
Right. Like I feel like I'm never going to arrive as a dad, and I think for me that's a good thing, because then I'm constantly trying to be a better dad, trying to be a better husband, all that kind of stuff. So the same way I approach like the teaching stuff, I don't think I'll ever know it all. No. I'm never going to know it all as a parent. I know that much, but I'm gonna try my best, and that's all I can ask for.
I love it. Now, if your kids ask you one day, why did you dedicate your life to basketball? What would be your response to them? I
hope that's not the question, because I hope basketball is a small piece of it. A guy came today that we were on the court, and we were talking afterwards, and he said to me, I get the feeling that this isn't what you're going to do forever. And I said, I think you're right. I don't know what the next thing is going to be, but basketball feels like such a small sliver of a bigger thing eventually coming down the road. So I hope the question isn't, why did you dedicate your life to basketball? I hope it is, you know, how did you dedicate any part of your life to anything? Basketball is amazing. It is such a cool thing for so many people, but it's such a small piece of the bigger picture with anything. I hear so many people say, like, basketball is life, and I've seen basketball be life for very few people. And usually the people that it really does come down to basketball is life for are for people that I know here in America it'd be hard for them to understand the situations that those people are in and why they're playing and what they're trying to get their family out of and all this kind of stuff. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know what my next thing is going to be. For now, I'm focused on trying to be good at what I do. But I do feel like there's some type of pool happening somewhere that I think will be bigger than this whole basketball thing.
Yep, I love it. I think selfishly, I'm going to talk a bit about me just to kind of give a perspective of how we came across each other. But of course, I mean, I got so many more questions I want to ask you and keep picking your brain. But I came across your page in 2019, and I was blown away by your content, but it seemed like you were just kind of starting to become, you could say, mainstream around basketball, right? Like it was kind of around 2019, I see Kevin Durant doing the pregame warm-ups of a lot of stuff that you're posting. And just kind of all around the rise of online trainers was happening around that time. And for me, I was, in 2019, I was 19, 20 years old at the time, and truthfully, I don't have any background in playing basketball. Like I played a couple games in high school, but nothing in college, no pro, nothing. And you mentioned it was interesting how you said, I don't like to talk about my playing career so much because I look at myself as a teacher now. And I think when I started, humbly, I didn't know what the hell I was doing or talking about. I looked at a lot of your content, I drew inspiration from it. And I remember the day where I was having one of my clients go through a drill that I found from your page, and I tagged you, and then you responded to me. And I was like, holy shit, like I'm talking to this guy. And over the years, like it just grew and grew, and I started my not-for-profit, and I made great impact around my community, and I grew the confidence to share my story and my battles with mental health and losing my father. And I have to not only thank you for the inspiration you gave to me and giving your time to me, not only today but over the years, but also just the way you're pushing the game forward. This conversation alone, I learned so much in 30 minutes, but just truthfully, it's like you're saying, it's bigger than basketball, but you're really pushing the game forward for people to understand you're using it as a vehicle to inspire and push and grow the next generation rather than keeping it all basketball focused.
That's awesome, man. And that's awesome, the stuff that you're continuing to do. And we're all met with our own battles in terms of, trying to build something. And I could imagine that there's the people that fall into this idea that just because you didn't play the game at a high level, you all of a sudden don't have the chops to get in there and teach it and to make an impact and all that kind of stuff. And I couldn't disagree more. I've taken things that I teach that have nothing to do with basketball and things that I've learned. So who is to say that somebody else's perspective on something doesn't hold value? Everybody holds value.
Yeah,
everybody, man. So that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, speaking on that specifically, when we talk about coaches with different backgrounds, a lot of parents have a hard time finding the right trainer, right? Especially now with it being so saturated, you could say, with so many trainers. What advice would you give to a parent that's looking for the right trainer to work with their kid in person for their one-on-one session? What are things to look out for?
Man, I think it's honesty. Even as a parent, I think you have an idea of what your kid can or can't do in that moment. And so if you're going to bring them to somebody and they're like, yeah, this kid's going to be the next whatever, you have an idea that maybe that's not true, right? Like, what are you trying to get out of it? There are more kids now that need some type of mentorship in some regard, even if it's for 1 hour, 2 hours a week, then I think we understand. And so if you're a parent, make sure that the person that you're putting in front of your kid is somebody that you'd want in front of your kid. You'd want influencing your kid. And yes, the basketball is an important thing and the knowledge and all that kind of stuff. But I think more often than not, you're going to find high value individuals that, if they really value the kid on the other end, there's a good chance they're valuing the things that they're teaching as well. So, are they honest? Are they, again, coming back to that word authentic, are they authentic with what they're doing? How do they conduct themselves, with everything? I think that's an important thing.
Love it. I have a couple scenarios I want to throw at you. So I wrote a couple down on my notes. A couple are coming to mind right now, but
Okay.
let me throw you this one. So I have a top recruit approaching his senior year. So it's a summer prior to senior year. Should he prioritize individual training with a bit of pro runs, or should he keep playing AAU?
I think that would depend on where his recruitment stands.
Okay.
Is this a kid that has, a couple offers in the bag in terms of, hey, this is where, it's here, man. You're good, and if he's okay with that, then prioritize the development over the AAU. I think AAU is a really good thing for a very select few people, because if you're not featured on an AAU team, man, it's tough. And I understand the pull of it and this feeling of you're missing out if you're not doing it. But yeah, that would depend. If there's offers on the table and you're feeling okay, that's what I want. Okay, make your decision and now go all in on becoming the best basketball player that you can be. Mm-hmm. That's probably not going to happen within AAU type programs or whatever. It's going to happen from your own development. That's not saying don't play. Go play, like you said. Go play in the pro. Do that kind of stuff. But man, go all in on your body, on your skills, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Do you look at the ball when you shoot? So when you release the ball, are you looking at the ball or are you looking and fixating on the rim?
I look at the ball.
Okay. Is there anything wrong with either or?
I find the rim first, and then the ball leaves the hand, and I watch the ball. I think it's very unique to the individual in terms of what they are able to concentrate on. Okay. I love watching the spin of the ball. Yeah. Once the ball leaves your hand, there's nothing else you can do. Mm-hmm. It's over, right? So my eyes going from the rim to ball leaves my hand to the ball, I always tell a player, when does your shot end? And they'll say, when the ball goes in. I say, absolutely not. So your shot ends once it leaves your hand. Like after it leaves your hand, it's over, man. You can't impact. There's nothing you can do to change what just happened. And so that's why a lot of times when we're working on things, it's how present are you actually being with your shot. So I have players that will get really discouraged with misses, but they're only discouraged when the ball doesn't go in. They're not discouraged because the way that everything's leading up to that is wrong. And so it's about turning the focus from just the outcome to the actual presence of what it is that you're doing. So, but for me, I've always just stared at the ball after. I always watch, and I'll tell people, I say it's too pretty not to look at it. So,
yeah. I love it. Over the years since getting to the training space, I've seen many gimmicks and many things being promoted. And I want to know your thoughts on shooting gloves, basketball. I've seen basketballs that are shaped as cubes to learn how to shoot, and a hand paddle to remove the thumb flick. Are there any items that people could buy online to help with their shooting, specifically to the finger gloves, the hand paddle? What are your thoughts on that?
It very much so depends on where you are in your process.
Okay.
For the most part, I would deem most to be irrelevant, right? And that's not me saying that there's not a place for them. Mm-hmm. I think, and this is through talking with a lot of people that have tried to get me to endorse their products, I would say a lot don't understand what shooting is to begin with, or what it is that even makes a good shooter. And so a lot of times we see these things and we say, oh, this will fix that, right? And generally the thing that you are looking to fix is oftentimes not the root cause of the problem. Yeah. It's much bigger than that. It happens before that happens. And when you start to bring that to people's attention, they're like, oh, I don't, that's not what we're after. And so we're addressing we're not addressing the root cause of the problem enough for a lot of those things. And so you get these things, and maybe it adds a constraint to the equation that makes you do something really well, but that doesn't mean you understand what you're doing.
Okay.
And so nothing trumps the understanding of what it is that you're trying to do at the end of the day. There's no shooting product better than this thing up here, man.
Yeah. No matter your age, no matter your age,
no matter your age, man. Your brain and your ability to pay attention is the greatest shooting aid there is. Just hard sometimes to get people to use what they already have.
No, absolutely. And I think a trick I can give, we talk about communication, working with kids. Something that I've learned that's worked for me working with younger kids is the trick of a lot of kids, they shoot from the chest with the elbows out. And I always tell kids, imagine your armpits are nutcrackers and you try and make sure the walnuts don't fall out and keep the elbows down, right? So it's a great way. It's an awesome way. Yeah. It's because funny, it's engaging.
Exactly. And then kids will remember that forever.
Exactly.
And a kid will grow up and will tell their kid that.
Yeah.
Like that 100%, you know?
Yeah. I love it. So ball's on the top of the key. You're in the strong side corner. They're driving to the basket. Your defender falls off you, and you got an open 3. Mind you, your team is down by 2, and there's 2 seconds left. What are you hyper fixating on in that moment, the moment you catch that ball? Like, do you focus on legs first? Are you just identifying the rim and letting it go, trusting the work you put in? Kind of what's going through your mind in that corner 3 in that moment?
So are you waiting in the corner?
You're waiting in the corner, correct. And then your defender falls off to go help, and that leaves you open in the corner.
Yeah, I mean, my big thing now, so like all the work has been put in.
Yeah.
Just get the feet down.
Okay.
Get the feet under you, man. If we get our feet under us and we're actually balanced, we're golden from that point forward. So
love it.
We have to get the feet down. And so even if that ball, you're standing still waiting for it, it's not, don't just keep them glued to the floor. It's understand the timing of the catch, drop, foot replace, and now we're up through there. We created a little rhythm for ourselves. But feet go down, man. Feet go down, ball up, over.
Love it.
Over.
This is a question coming from me, so selfishly I got to ask you, how do you take off the coaching hat? Because when you're a coach playing in the world that we're playing in, we are mentors, we are therapists, we are big brothers, father figures. Like we play a lot of roles. And for you, how do you take that off at the end of the day and just kind of go on with your life and not let it, kind of consume you and become your identity of being a coach?
It's really tough.
Yeah.
It's really tough. I'd say I'm pretty bad at it right now.
Okay,
because of how busy I am.
Yes.
But for me, like things that help me are I love to go on walks with my daughter. I love to read. I love to do all that kind of stuff. Anything that I guess kind of gets you outside of yourself, because I think what you're hitting on is making me think too, is really important. From you are not your profession, right? Like just like somebody that buys the most luxurious things all the time. I'm going to buy this, I'm going to buy that. Those things aren't you.
Yeah.
Just like I'm not my profession. I'm not who are you? How do you feel about yourself when you're by yourself? I think that's the big thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I have a great answer for that yet, because I don't think I'm that good at that. I think I could do a better job at that.
That's a part of the next chapter of what you're doing after basketball.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah.
I love it. Quick hitters for you. So if you had one movie recommendation, you mentioned it earlier. Can you repeat it one more time for those who missed it?
That's not my one movie recommendation.
Okay,
it's a good one.
Give me that movie you mentioned before and the one movie recommendation you'd have.
There's a movie right now. Okay, can I give two just because I'm watching two?
Of course. Yeah, the more the merrier. The
real one.
Yeah.
That is amazing is called Perfect Days.
Perfect Days. Okay.
Watch Perfect Days. It is incredible. The other movie that I can't stop watching, I've watched 3 times in the last week, is the Bob Dylan movie, A Complete Unknown.
Okay.
Watching how he interacted with the world and how he saw things, and it's really interesting. It's just fun to watch people do things their way.
Yeah.
Like, you talk about authenticity. Like, that guy was, this is the way I do things. And like, you're either going to like it or you're not, but this is the way. Yeah, but Perfect Days is amazing. Amazing,
Awesome.
amazing.
Okay. And then one book recommendation.
Ooh. I think the book that I keep coming back to and I take with me everywhere now is the Tao Te Ching.
Can you repeat it one more time, and I'll make sure to put in the description down below as well.
Tao Te Ching, Taoteeching.
Okay.
It's a book that you could read in a day, in a sitting. And I have like a guy that I consider a mentor, and he would recommend books. And so he would call a book like this, Day to Read, Lifetime to Master.
Wow.
Like you can read it in a day, but you're not going to fully understand it or how to implement it. That book you can read 100 times and you will read 100 different books.
That's awesome.
It's an amazing, amazing book. But you also have to be very ready for it.
Of course.
If you're not, you'll look at it and be like, this is out there, man. I don't understand this. But it takes a while.
Yeah, I love it. Now, for those that are listening, so more specifically, like let's say my mom, she doesn't really know much about basketball. She's listening to this. What can you tell me about Keep Shooting Academy? So what am I getting when I sign up? I can speak a little bit on it. So I know that you offer WhatsApp conversations and giving film breakdown, giving hands-on tips. And maybe you can speak more to it from your end. Give me the pitch of what it is. What am I signing up for?
Yeah, so it's a way to do virtual teaching and then learning on behalf of the student in the best way I found to do it. And it's access to me, so access to my personal contact, in which the players or the parents, what they do is you get unlimited access to send as many texts as you want, video as you want, ask as many questions, all that kind of stuff. And I'll answer it all, explain, hey, this is what's happening, break this down, all this kind of stuff. And I found it to be so useful because when you're working with a trainer, I would say most kids, maybe you see them one time a week, right? And then there's no feedback for the next 7 days.
Yeah.
Whereas as long as you're willing to record yourself, shoot some shots as you go through things, you can get feedback every single day.
Yeah.
And not just feedback every single day, but feedback that's memorialized within the chat of now you can continue to go back. Oh, this is what he was talking about. I understand this now. Oh, he did this breakdown then. Now I can compare and contrast to where I'm at now. And so it's been the best way for that open dialogue to be there so that you're not reliant upon just a certain time of day during the week to get your feedback into what it is you're trying to do. But it could be every day if you want it to be. Yeah. And so I've found it to be a really good thing. I've also found it to be something that, again, like you have to be ready for to do. Some people aren't ready for that. Some people think they're ready for that, but they're not ready for that. And I used to immaturely be like upset if somebody would come in and like, no, this isn't for, what do you mean this isn't for you? Like now it's like, yeah, I get it. Like it's not for you. And if it's not for you, then I definitely don't want it to be for me, And we need to be both fully engaged in what it is that we're doing in order to get the results out of it. It's Jim Collins wrote a book, Good to Great, but he also wrote this book called Turning the Flywheel, which is a much shorter book. And he has a quote within Turning the Flywheel. It says, "Teaching is a relationship, not a transaction."
Wow. And
that's the way it needs to be. Like it needs to be, and it needs to be both sides are fully committed to figuring out what makes each other tick. How are we going to get to where we need to go? And that's when it works best.
Love it. I got one last question for you, and then on every podcast, I always give the guest an opportunity to ask me any questions, should you have any. So my last question for you is, and I find that this is the question that everybody wants to know the answer to. So back in the day, when you had a full head of hair, what was the style you'd go for? What was the hairstyle you'd have back in the day? And you have to send me a photo I could put on the screen right over here. So
it was either just like not like short, but like didn't do anything to it.
Okay, fair.
There were stages, man. There was a time where I would comb everything down and then flip it up.
Okay.
When I was real young.
Yeah.
But then once I got to high school, it was just buzz cut. It was buzz cut anyway, so it was very similar.
No Jerry curls or anything crazy.
Yeah, it was nothing crazy, man. I never wanted it to get too long anyway. So
fair enough. Okay.
I was trending in this direction for a very long time.
I'm on my way, so don't worry. Now, as I mentioned before, every time I have a podcast, I give my guests a chance to ask me questions. So if you have any, fire away.
I guess my question to you Um, how long do you see yourself doing this podcast? And if you had to pick one person that anybody
Yep.
that you could get
I already
on,
know who it is.
who would it be? So
Yeah,
how
so-
long do you plan on doing it? And then, yeah, who's the person?
I've been doing it for a month now already, and I love it. Like, I love the grind. I love the mix-ups and scheduling.
Yeah.
Just a little shot at you. No, I love it all. I love the process. I love what it's bringing out of me. And I think selfishly, like, I wanted to branch off away from what I have been building over the last 6 years and still give back to others, give back to kids that are listening to this. But selfishly, I want to learn, right? And I think this is an amazing opportunity for me to do so. So to answer your question, when I started, I signed up for 10 episodes. That's my contract. That's season 1.
Nice.
And if I commit to that, I'll revisit, see how I feel after. But I have to complete 10 episodes and give it my all. And as of now, I don't see an end in sight, just based off of the growth of it. I think with obviously posting episodes and interviewing people like you, that I think I can make a wider reach and obviously kind of just differentiate from other podcasts, not doing just basketball. I want to interview teachers. I want to interview psychologists. I want to interview all types of people, different walks of life, and just give kids the tools, to be successful in life and learning opportunities. Now, for one guest, my mom is number 1 on my list. I think getting the perspective from her, and she's going to hate that I'm doing this, but obviously I think, because I brought her the idea when I started. She's like, absolutely not. So hopefully this isn't convincing, but the idea
Mom,
of what
Mom, do it. Do it.
The idea of, having gone through what I went through with my dad, you often hear my perspective in life. You hear the son's perspective, the person's perspective of what happened to them, what they went through. I don't see it too often where you have a real vulnerable conversation to get the mom's perspective, because for so long I had a resentment towards her, and we went through a lot of ups and downs to get our relationship to where it is today. So for me to be able to bring her on and have that conversation, I think a lot of single moms can benefit from it. I think a lot of youth listening to that may be going through something similar can benefit from it. And I think for me to just be therapeutic and something beautiful to document that I can cherish with me forever. So that would be my dream guest.
It would benefit you, and if it benefits you, it would probably benefit a lot of people. That would be an amazing conversation.
For sure.
A
basketball one, definitely a tough one. Now, a basketball guest, Kyrie Irving, number 1. Just talking about his rise to stardom, but more importantly, kind of how he found himself in the last 6-7 years. He talks a lot about his ego. He talks about experiencing ego death, and he laughs at his old self, almost like you were saying earlier, how you don't recognize yourself back then, and how yourself back then wouldn't recognize you now. And I think Kyrie went through a lot of that, and I think that would be an awesome guest to have on my podcast.
I think you said something interesting when you were like, I don't want to just do basketball stuff. I want to go outside and whether this, and I think that's where I think, for me, I think that's where the real fun stuff is, because basketball, again, it's such a small piece of everything, and it's a great vehicle for things, for sure.
Absolutely.
But that's cool, man. That's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You were up there when I started. So again, I want to remind everybody, please like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to check out Keep Shooting Academy. Limited time, 50% off. Description can be found in the description below, or the link can be found in the description below. I want to thank you, Coach Mike, for inspiring me, pushing me, and being consistent over the years the way that you have been. It's amazing to see what you've built and the impact it's making not only on myself but globally for hoopers everywhere. I just want to say thank you so much. I got to give one quick interruption because I have my showstopper over here is driving me nuts.
There you go.
With that, I'll see you guys later on the next episode. And Coach Mike, thank you so much again for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, man. This was great.